Good morning. We are back in the messy studio of doom, and the weatherman is finally no longer lying to me because apparently it's autumn, and when I wake up in the morning now it's cold, so I can wear jumpers, which means I can wear my cute cat jumper again. And as a self-described crazy cat lady, that makes me really happy. So I've been working on a couple of things this week, then we'll see what I finish first, what I feel most impassioned about. So the other thing that I have been working on is updating my Etsy store, which I do not think I have done in a year or two. I kind of let it fall by the wayside. I was busy. I have been wanting to put a bunch of physical products in it for once, so I've been making a lot of stuff out of polymer clay, and I'm going to show you the process of what I'm creating. It's an interesting mix, I think. I use my Etsy store for a couple of things like cards and wrapping paper and stickers, but the other thing that I've been wanting to branch out into quite a while is one-of-a-kind Christmas ornaments and little sort of home decor pieces. Some one-of-a-kind, some that I will make molds of, but I've been working on a bunch of those. And you might be like, why on earth would you start working on Christmas decorations in April? And that's because if I want to do a whole collection, I feel like I need to get started now so I have time. And also my city has a Christmas in July market, and if I were to potentially do a booth there, that is in July, so I would need to have stock for that. Those of you who have been part of this channel for at least one holiday cycle should know that I am absolutely batshit crazy about holidays. I don't have anything planned for Easter coming up. I don't usually decorate for Easter. I have not figured that one out, but I am just trying to focus on one thing at a time, or 2 things at a time, 3 things at a time, instead of 7 things at a time like I usually do. But I've been experimenting a little bit with the items that I have been creating. I think the main experiment that has been successful has been changing the way that I paint my polymer clay. At the moment I've been using pastels. I used to use acrylic paint. I have also seen people have a lot of success with airbrushes, so I want to try that out. I noticed a comment on not my last video, my Cabinet of Curiosities videos, where someone complimented the rhinestone heart that I had made. So one of the things that I want to be able to make as a replicable design is smaller, like rhinestone covered or otherwise pastel and glittery, like really sort of me, which is like a little bit creepy and a little bit like pastel and tacky, maybe a lot pastel and tacky, a little bit like kitschy and mid-century, mixed with that like kind of creepy Gothic aesthetic. So something that I've been wanting to make is like sets of anatomically correct heart baubles, and this is what I've done so far. For one, so there's this guy. He's very pastel. I haven't sealed the pastels yet, but I did bake them in. This guy is flat at the back at the moment with a lot of pastel behind him. For this particular one, I was thinking of glazing it, making it really bright and pastel and ridiculous, and then doing kind of like an ornate mold behind it, so it kind of looks like a miniature framed taxidermy that's obviously fake because it's a human-ish heart. A lot of the theme of my Christmas decorations are like fantasy, supernatural, witchy kind of vibes, as well as like very, very nature inspired. I love having like bugs and little animals and butterflies and flowers and stuff like that in my Christmas trees. And I'm also working on like one-of-a-kind sculptures and art dolls and soft sculptures where all of the clothes will be handmade for those dolls, and that will also play into that kind of like, it's like fantasy slash horror slash Midsummer Night's Dream Shakespearean. I gotta think of a name for that aesthetic where I meld all those 3 things together. And no, I will not be cleaning this office today. I will just be continuing to cover it in pastels all over my new floor. These are the ones I'm currently working on. Some things are in closer stages of finishing than others. These 2 here just need to be smoothed out. This one's really close to being finished. It's day I don't even know what, because I'm stressed of trying to create these prototypes that I eventually want to cast molds of. And everything was going really, really well until I had created basically like the halves, the first half of each piece. And I was like, oh, this would be great. Once I got the first half perfect, I'll either bake it so that it's preserved and I can work on the second half, or I'll make molds of each half and put them together. Then what happened was I had gotten this tiny little potion bottle thing to work out really well, and then I put it in the oven with the back part on. The whole thing cracked and got like all this stuff all over it. Little chunks came out. I do not know how that happened. I don't think I've ever had something like that happen with polymer clay before. This tiny little cap also came off, so that was cool and fun and fresh. Very confused as to how that happened. It's fine because the eventual product is going to be made just out of a resin pour. I'm just going to fix that one up, keep it for myself for my own Christmas tree. I mean, I was really sad about it, and then my partner was like, just use it as a reference and redo it when you want to redo it. The goal was originally to cast the mold prior to finishing it, like finishing all of the painting and everything, because it has these indented stars, and the idea was to fill the indented stars with like something holographic so that they would look really cute. But yeah, this happened. I think it's fine though if I give it a good sand. Obviously it's not saleable, but yeah, she's learning R&D. Another manic Monday in which you get to see the life of mess, the amount of mess, all the mess in the background, including the mirrors that I clearly don't use on our wardrobe that I haven't cleaned in 10 years. I got my peppermint tea, I got my funky doing my makeup hairdo, and I'm just gonna have a chat about some things that have been going on as I've been working through prototyping this stuff. I'm in a lot of pain also. I really need to go for a walk today. The pain is like really bad, or like it goes in like a circle or like a semicircle, pretty much following my cheekbone and jaw, and then it's like also down there and in my shoulder and in my wrists. I have many thoughts and feelings. My brain has been thinking a lot recently. I don't know where my little makeup hair clips are, so I've been using this claw clip. I'll often call my sister, video chat with her when I'm doing my makeup on the weekend and stuff. And I'll be like, do you like this hairstyle? And she's like, it's her outdoors. So the past couple of days I have been working through various issues that have come up in kind of trying to prototype some of these pieces. These ones that I'm making in this video are very unlikely to be the ones that actually go up for sale, because these ones are gonna have mistakes. They're gonna have lessons learned. Even though I've been working with polymer clay for a while, I do find that every time I use it, and particularly whenever I use different brands, I tend to have a few different lessons learned. My eyebrows don't want to work today. I have been seeing a lot of artists online react to what is going on politically in the US, and it is very, very interesting seeing what's going on with tariffs and how it affects small businesses, and even how it affects small businesses here in Australia and their supply lines and stuff. Them being able to account for things like costs and shipping and profit, and trying to model that, because a lot of them are one person. So there's a big impact that I'm definitely seeing people complain about online, and I have been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've been thinking about like the creation of small, sustainable, ethical, handmade kind of stuff a lot in general, and that business model and the costing associated with that, because I've been looking at my stuff and being like, and then how do I even cost this? And then, you know, people will use like general rules of thumb, and then obviously shipping is calculated by like distance and weight and methodology, no, just method of shipping. I've been paying a lot of attention to various videos, blogs, newsletters, Reddit posts, etc., looking at all the different ways that artists use to cost things and figure that out, and things that some people say are worth it and things some people say aren't, how many people are able to wholesale, like create wholesale products, and how many people are just doing one-offs or creating molds of pieces and doing like each piece is uniquely handcrafted, but maybe they use like a mold for the major pieces so that they're the same and it's not mass produced, but it is like reproducible. And kind of looking at what I might want to do in that respect if I want to be creating molds or one-of-a-kind pieces. I definitely think for some of the simple things, like molds are good. And then also, like, obviously I feel like you have to start with kind of one-of-a-kind pieces and see what people like in terms of sales. If your marketing manages to reach people, which I feel like with social media is such a hard thing to do these days. And I'm also trying to look at how do you even find people. I feel like I'm a little lost in the sauce at the moment. It's overwhelming, and that's why I haven't cleaned my house ever and never do, because I'm constantly researching either how to make things or the avenues in which people might find the things that you make. And then on top of that, the other thing that I have been thinking about is value of a thing that isn't monetary, because I don't want my value, if I were to be able to create like a viable design business, I don't want that value to exclusively be monetary. I was having a conversation with my sister and I was like, oh, could you help me out with like marketing and PR and stuff, because she's really good at that and she's done it as her job, and I think I'm okay sometimes at creating like marketing creative, but I'm not very good at disseminating it, I think, or like how to disseminate it and how to like gain attention and stuff like that. Not very good at it. And also I don't want to talk to people. And she was like, is all your stuff going to be handmade? Because if you make it all handmade, there isn't a way to scale that. And I was like, I don't want to scale it. Like, I want it to be comfortable for me. One thing being, I don't want stress. I'm in chronic pain. I was talking about this with my partner the other day, and I was using the my eyeshadow looks uneven. I gotta fix this. I was using the example of my garden. I love my garden. I love being in my garden. My garden did cost money to make. It did. First of all, having a home where you can have a garden. Second of all, buying the seeds, the fertilizer, compost, time spent in the garden. We already had most of the tools, so we didn't have to buy those, but like all of that took time and money. But the return on investment that I get from that garden is not monetary. Like, I don't really use it to grow food. I use it to provide food to pollinators, which is awesome. So it makes me feel good. It makes me happy because I love playing with color, obviously, being someone who likes to paint and, you know, try and learn various crafts making skills. The return that I get on investment is that a lot of people in our neighborhood also love my garden. There are a lot of young families in this street. I decorate it for like holidays, like really elaborately for Halloween, and hopefully this year I'll be able to decorate the outside really elaborately for Christmas. They walk past and they compliment it and they say like, oh, it looks so pretty. Or they tell me that they're a gardener too. Like, my neighbor offers me free seeds and vice versa because we both like to garden. So the garden is not making me money back of what I put into it, which is not like viable for a business, I understand, but it's providing this like sense of community that I think is beneficial, not just for me, but obviously for the people who enjoy it walking past. My partner made the point when I was saying this that people talk a lot about like the death of community being tied up in housing and the housing crisis that I think most countries are experiencing, where young people just cannot get into the market because of overinflated housing prices and lack of supply. And he was saying like, well, if people have to rent, obviously, and in Australia we have really poor rental rights, of course they're not going to put the time, money and effort into a garden. And just thinking about like value and attempting to, particularly with like all of the things happening in the world, obviously you need a living wage and you need to be able to live. And I also think you need to be able to purchase luxuries because that's how this world works. And it feels like the value center really is the like parting with the cash and not what the thing provides when it's crafted really well. I'm just having thoughts. But if there are any artists or creatives who watch my stuff and who run businesses, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. And how do you balance like creating things, pricing them, and potentially having that like decentering of money as the point of value? I definitely think that there is like a culture of quality is not the point of value. And obviously people have been talking about this for a really long time, particularly with fast fashion. I think that it's also tied into even like tech. Like, we keep talking about like how our social media experiences are getting worse and worse, but we keep using them. But we're like, you know, everything's getting shitified, and now more people are branching out and trying different experiences of social media because of that. I mean, it's probably more wage growth rather than just like accepting what you can get. I think wage growth is probably a bigger problem. And purchasing cheaper and cheaper goods, leading to this kind of weird cycle. Just as an aside, because I'm editing this now and that's why I'm greedy. My main point in that whole rambling, mumbling rant was not that people shouldn't feel like they need to purchase like cheaper items or whatever. It was more about people chasing monetary success over creative success, I guess you could call it. I'm always covered in paint. The success of feeling as though you brought something good to the world. So ultimately when my sister and I got with what we were talking about in terms of like marketing, PR, branding and stuff like, which I feel like a lot of artists think is a dirty word, but I don't think it is. She was kind of explaining to me that if you want to do really limited collections, if you want to do a small batch, and if you want to do these collections that even the collection itself is small, like maybe it only has between 6 and 10 pieces, her idea was to focus on the story, like what the pieces are, how they go together, what the focal point is. So I thought that was really cool. And I do have that in what I'm currently working on.